Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 184 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on October 24th, 2023. How are all you wonderful folks doing today? Man, I'm doing pretty good. A bit overloaded at the moment, but nonetheless, very good. I was out in the field teaching a course all day to some folks. Part of it, basically the purpose of it is to ensure folks understand hazards and how to be protected, how to prevent bad things from happening, those type of things. Big stuff, big booms, things like that. But today, on this podcast, we're going to speak about a different type of hazards. That's right, the hazards from suppressed small arms. Yeah, and not the hazards to the folks downrange, the folks you're shooting at. No, the hazards to you and your buddies as you are shooting. That's right. Silencer sound signatures on a variety of systems. Yeah. Now, remember last episode when I asked for your prayers in kind of a joking manner? Yeah, clearly you have been praying because I'm still alive. We have 5 topics to cover today. That's right, 5 topics all on one episode. We are so overloaded with data and information so what I'm going to do today, in order not to compromise quality, is I'm going to go super short on most of the topics, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to dedicate the time to the Liberty Precision Machine Torch topic that I think it deserves, because it's the full technical discussion. And then what I'll do is I'll go and I will hit introductory discussions for the 14.5-inch mid-length gas research supplement, the Surefire RC2 stuff on that new host, and then the Cat Whitebread, the Cat WB stuff on the Mark 18 and the 14.5. That Cat that's that 5.56K silencer that we tested that it's going to be released soon. So those 2 articles are actually dropping today with the podcast. So there's that, right? So there's literally 5 topics, and they are all articles. Okay, so 5 articles, 1 podcast, 1 man, 1 scoop of pre-workout, exhaustion, excitement. Let's go. No, it is. Yeah. Real quick though, before I get started, before I get into this, I am so excited. I got a water guzzler set up for wildlife. I've always wanted to do it, and I finally did it. So what we're doing is we're using 2 275-gallon water totes. So we're using one as the reservoir, and then the other one as a transport tank until we can get a rain catchment system set up so we can just fill the reservoir by itself. So right now, the reservoir tote is filled up. We got it filled up, and it is run to a trough with a float in it, and so we're so excited about it, and it's so cool when you can get water as well as feed and and even shelter to a habitat, right, to a wildlife habitat. I'm so stoked about that. I've been watching it intently with the cameras and everything. So I even made a dang Instagram reel about it. I was so excited. I was so excited to get it done, and I just thought it was cool. And I've had no time at all to do anything for myself, and no time at all to go do any ranch stuff or anything. And so squeezing it in to finish that late on Sunday, after I wrote some things, I was able to Sunday night go and finish that. I've been so dang busy, but we were able to get that done, and so I wanted to share it. I'm so excited about it. I won't be able to enjoy it for a minute, but I just it's there and it's done, and it's the animals can drink water. I'm so stoked. So anyway, okay, on with the show. The J Situation Podcast is proudly sponsored by Legion Athletics. Yeah, that's right. And gosh, this has helped me out so much personally, man. Because nothing you do, exercise, sports, or anything, is worth doing without consistency. And you have to you really have to do stuff all the time if you want to be good at it. Right, you got to be Michael Jordan at this stuff, and Legion Athletics can help you with this. Okay, they have supplements to help you, like whey protein, pre-workout, post-workout. They don't have everything you need by any means, but they have a lot of it. They really do, and it's all really good quality stuff, guys. It's all science-backed stuff. It's pretty good. Visit legionathletics.com. There's a link in the show notes. If you use code word PewScience, you'll get 20% off of your first order. And if you keep using that code for double loyalty points, you'll get up to net 10% off every order after that going forward. So, man, it's really good, man. It's a pretty good deal because you're going to buy this stuff all the time since you start using it, right? So get strong. It's important. Try to stay in shape. I know it's hard. Everyone has a lot of time commitments. Make time. Okay, make time. The J Situation podcast is also sponsored by Top Gun Range Houston. If you are in the Houston area, even if you're just visiting, they're worth checking out. In addition to having a 15-lane indoor range, they have the largest firearm rental fleet in the entire state of Texas, and you can rent pistols and rifles and shotguns, and you guessed it, machine guns, and you can check them out online, because if you go to topgunrange.com, you can look at their firearm rental inventory. You can see what maybe you want to shoot and try out before you even go, okay? And you can also find them on Instagram at Top Gun Range, and they're always there to answer your questions and talk with you. I know those folks. They're really great people. And they all actually shoot silencers, which is pretty cool. It's an actual resource for you, which is cool, right? I think that's nice. This episode is also brought to you by high-end armament technology, Heat. Okay, they're high-end arms. They're a dealer of exactly that. All they deal with is high-end arms and accessories. There's if you want something Gucci, that's all they do is Gucci. They don't do budget stuff. Like sometimes you're in that treat yourself mood, and if you are, that's Robert and his crew at High End Arms in Oklahoma. They have a really long tenure in the machine gun game, the NFA game, the night vision game, thermal optic game, infrared sighting systems game. This is before everyone and their mom was selling night vision, guys. These guys have been in the game for a very long time. They're very trustworthy. They know how to find the really good stuff, the rare stuff. Check them out at highendarms.com, on Instagram at highendarms, and they even has a Facebook page, which you guessed it, is also High End Arms. I hope they can help you folks out. If you need it, tell them Jay sent you. Okay, this episode is also probably sponsored by Silencer Shop. You can use their kiosk. You can do your fingerprints and photos electronically. And in turn, you will cut down on errors. You will simplify your silencer purchasing process. You get a money-back guarantee. It's pretty good. Okay, you don't pay a transfer fee. The propensity for paperwork errors is low. It is just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. That's right. And finally, and most importantly, believe me, it is the most important thing. This podcast is brought to you by the Pew Science Laboratory. I am the technical director of the lab, and in the interest of public education, the lab sponsors this podcast and also runs a public research effort which continues to push the silencer industry forward, one test at a time. Please visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating. It's the simplest, most accurate hearing safe rating for your suppressed small arms. It's based on true human inner ear response of the entire gunshot from before combustion takes place all the way until all the combustion is gone and all mechanical operation of the weapon has ceased. The bolt has returned back to battery. Everything's done. It's the entire sound signature in the free field. Okay? It's the whole thing. And Pew Science is the home of the Silencer Sound Standard. There's 7 sections. It's the most in-depth and accurate silencer data and analysis in the entire world, and it's all available to the public, okay? Check it out at pewscience.com. And if you would be so kind, you can support all this stuff. You can support the podcast. You can support our lab giving you public information. You can support all that testing by joining with a membership at pewscience.com. It would really help out. There's a donate feature too. If you're not into monthly fees and you just want to give once, that's cool, man. You can either buy a year membership and cancel it and just have that whole year, or you can, buy a monthly membership, just chip in for a month and cancel it. That's cool too. You'll have access for the whole month, or you just do a one-time donation. There's a donation function which is completely separate from the membership system. You can do that too. Whatever you want to do to help, that's awesome. And you know what? If you're not interested in making a monetary contribution to the research, you don't have to do that. You can spread the word. It's equally important. Spread the word, tell people about the effort, tell them where they can find the information, teach others about stuff you learn using it. That would be great. Okay, keep the education going, pay it forward to your fellow man, and let folks know that silencers and guns are awesome. Give us a good 5-star rating on Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Help overcome that censorship of free speech. That would help, right? I think it would help. So, now then, 5 topics. I know it's crazy. We're going to do it. We have to. It's easy to succeed when you have to do something, right? Topic 1, Sound Signature Review 6126. The Liberty Precision Machine Torch on the 5.56 Mark 18 with both solid and vented end caps. This is the technical discussion of the Pew Science Laboratory white paper that was released last week. Okay, since we gave you the introduction to it last week when we released it in tandem with the podcast, now this week we'll go deep dive. Okay, now topic 2. This was a surprise for some of you probably. This happened on this past Sunday. This was published, Member Research Supplement 6127. Actually, you know what? It's not a member research supplement. It is a public research supplement. It's a public research supplement for everybody. The standard M4A1 test host. That's right, the 14.5-inch mid-length gas 5.56 AR. That testing is here. And as is tradition, we have defined the standardized parameters for the research pedigree, and that has all been done with your help. That's right, you listening, all the public, we polled everybody. We did this with your help, okay? So this is an abbreviated discussion about that. That's an introduction. We'll talk about that in topic 2. Topic 3, Sound Signature Review 6128. Okay, that's the Surefire SOCOM 5.56 RC2 on the new test host. That's right, on the 5.56 M4A1 mid-gas. And of course, we did it with the 3-prong and WarComp again. We used both mounts. We had to. This is member-funded research, grassroots, baby. And this is the introductory discussion, okay, covering that white paper that was also published on Sunday, just a couple days ago, okay? We have kicked off 14.5, baby. I told you we would. Told you. Topic 4. And now this is a new one. Topic 4, this is something that was released today. If you're listening to this early and it's not been released yet, go back to bed and wake up and you'll have it. Sound Signature Review 6129, the CAT WB A1 718 on the 5.56 Mark 18. Okay, it's live right now. That's the CAT white bread silencer. It's a 5.56K silencer in Canal version. It's their A1, so it's the first version. That's live right now. This is the introductory discussion for this much anticipated data set. People have been really hounding for this one. It's been in the works for quite some time. It's a very small silencer. It's very interesting performance. We'll talk about that. And then in tandem with that, in topic 5, because it all worked out, just to put a bow on all of this, just get this done, Sound Signature Review 6130. The same silencer, that CAT WB K-Can on the M4A1 14.5-inch mid-gas. That's right. We did it in the Mark 18 and the 14.5. Guys, I told you we were starting 14.5 testing. We've actually done quite a bit of it, and client testing has already started with a few clients, and internal research, as you've already seen. So here you go. It's now or never, basically. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? This is it. So here's one of them. Here's one of those client tests. It's out. This should actually, and this is a really good one, because this article, this Sound Signature Review 6130, should give you a great picture of how the surge bypass technology scales. Okay, so that's an introductory discussion for that one. God, there's so much to talk about this episode. That's 14 minutes in. We just now finished the intro. And I'm telling you, I'm going to do my best to do this justice. I still got to work on these 2 articles that are dropping with this podcast. I'm not 100% done with them. But I had to teach that course today, and I have a job, and have this job, and the day is only 24 hours, which I think is, I think it's BS, dude. I think we should have longer days. I think maybe we've been cheated out of some time, and I'm going to work on correcting that. No, I'm just kidding. Topic 1. At a time of, let me write this down right, at a time of 15 minutes and 6 seconds. Okay. Man, there's going to be, I'm writing on my piece of paper right now to make sure I have enough space to write these down. Oh my God. I always use small scraps of paper. It's not efficient, Jay. Come on. All right. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Topic 1, Sound Signature Review 6126. This is the Liberty Precision Machine Torch on the 556 Mark 18. Solid invented end caps. Again, we did this last week. We released it last week. We gave you an intro. We're going to go technical. Okay, we're going to go technical. Oh my goodness gracious me. You know, a lot of you were waiting for this. I tell you what, I got a lot of feedback. Liberty Precision Machine. Coming from seemingly nowhere, man. Designing and manufacturing some of the most interesting rifle silencer designs with practical performance I think we've seen in the pedigree so far. I think some of the most interesting ones have come from Liberty. And again, this is Liberty Precision Machine. This is not Liberty Suppressors out of Georgia. Dave, hey, great guy. Been in the game for a long time. Dave is a good guy, but that's a different company. This is Liberty Precision Machine. Okay, this is out of one of the Dakotas. Oh, God, is it South Dakota, North Dakota? I always damn forget, man. It's North Dakota. Yeah, Riley's out of North. He's in North Dakota. Liberty Precision Machine, different Liberty. Okay, just want to make sure you guys know that. And yeah, their silencers, they're interesting. You saw from Pew Science, you saw the Anthem series, right? You saw the 7.62 Anthem series already, and the one we're going to talk about today is their Torch, which is their 5.56 silencer. Okay, and you know, I did brag about these folks as a client last episode. So let's talk technically about the silencer. In keeping with something that is very important to understand, the team at Liberty Precision Machine has managed to make some simple geometric tweaks, okay, some geometric design tweaks to minimize the so-called alpha parameter, okay, and then I think they're able to adjust omega, or really the overall flow rate of the silencer with the removable end cap, okay, so that's kind of what they're doing with the Torch. And so when you look inside this thing, and I have it right here in front of me, actually, right here on my desk, when you look inside it, what you see is a blast baffle that has a fairly large orifice, and it's so large that you can actually see a lot of the next baffle right there. And what they've also done is ported it quite liberally. And so, you know, this is really a very simple geometry, guys, and it's extremely simple technology here, but it's applied in a way that I think it's doing what the designer set out to do. Just like I explained in the last episode, okay, you're able to control the shock environment in early time by changing the reflections, and also by altering a portion of the gas phase, okay, later in time, okay, and so that's something that I did promise some folks on social media I would talk about. I got some really thoughtful questions from some folks, and it's hard for me sometimes to answer some of these very technical questions on social media because I don't have the time, and it can get lost in text. And so I'd like to just give you some more technical background before we get fully into this. So really quick, I wanted to reinforce a point that I just made about this shock environment in early time and changing the reflections, and also altering the gas phase of the system. So we'll explain some physics here. I think it'll help you understand suppressed weapons as a user. And if you are a designer, this may help you a little with your designs as well, okay? So when an explosion occurs in a confined space, there are multiple things going on, okay? It gets very complicated. So as engineers and analysts and designers, or whatever you may be, so what we do is we often simplify the behavior, or at least we break it down into different components so that we can manage the physics, and we can get all the parameters organized to solve the problems efficiently, right? And so just as an aside, I want to say this, and I don't mean to be negative, but I heard the craziest thing a couple of months back. Someone told me a story. There's a silencer industry designer guy, and he said to this guy, this other guy that talked to me, he said to him, and I quote, "Engineering formulas are a scam to make you go to school." I He told me I thought he was joking, and that's what someone actually thought. I think, and this guy he's making silencers right now, this guy. And he said that, that guy said that, and I couldn't believe my ears. And so I don't think that that's a real thing that a lot of people think, but it is apparently something that some people think. So avoid that line of thinking and know that we're all going to learn together. And physics is real, and it's not a scam, and it's not a conspiracy, and there's no scam to make you pay tuition to learn science. That's crazy. Okay, so let's get back. I just thought you should know that that's what someone really thinks, and I just was beside myself with surprise that could be possibly real. And I have learned that surprises come every day. So when an explosion happens in a confined space, what it's easiest to break it down into two phases: the shock phase and the gas phase. And look, I know I'm greatly oversimplifying this, and if you're a combustion physicist, you may disagree with how I'm exactly doing this, but that's fine. We can talk offline. If you really have a problem with it, send me an email. We'll talk. You can call me. We'll talk about it. So what I would like you to do is break it down into two phases: the shock phase and the gas phase. And if you do that, you will be able to run calculations and build your theory, build your designs, and basically get out from under your problem in one piece. I think it's a good philosophy. So if you break down the load into two phases, you can use something super handy. And you guys have probably heard this term in school. It's called superposition. Superposition, it's a principle in which two or more phenomena are nested in a certain domain, right? In a space, and then certain properties result from that nesting. But the main thing you need to know is that the things superimposed on one another are coexisting. And in some ways, they're independent. And it is that independence occurring simultaneously with their nested existence that gives you the analytical and design power you need to solve your problem. And so, you've probably heard of things like quantum superposition. This is not that relaxed. This is easier. I'm not going to go into quantum physics on this podcast. First of all, I'm not really that well versed in quantum physics. That's not my thing. Okay, so don't get scared because that's wild. So first, what happens is your shock phase happens. And it's going to keep happening. But the thing you need to know is shock waves are fast, and they can get even faster. If you thought you knew the speed, they can get faster than you think. And there can be a lot of them. There can be multiple incidences of them. And their rise times are basically zero, right? From 0 to 100 real quick, as the kids say. Literally, a discontinuity in the medium. We've explained that ad nauseum on the podcast. So you have shock waves entering your room there for whatever they are. And in this case, the silencer's first expansion room. That's right, the expansion chamber. The blast chamber. All synonyms for the same thing. Same thing. Then you have the gas phase, and that's continuous pressurization of the space. That's right. And it's happening at the same time as the shock phase. Yeah, same time, same room, getting comfy together. So comfy. They get so comfortable that the shocks are riding on top of the gas, and or the gas is riding on top of the shocks. Whatever is happening, they're both riding the lightning. Frankly, it's violent. It's aggressive. It's combined shock and gas pressurization. It is multi-phase loading, and that is a silencer blast chamber in a nutshell. Okay, I'm grossly oversimplifying this, but it's important. So if you're a designer, you have to deal with both of them at the same time. You have no choice. But you also have to deal with them separately. You have no choice. So you stand no chance of success unless you do so. The end, really. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200 except for the tax stamp. If you ignore the two load phases, the only way you will achieve success is if you get lucky. And boy, howdy, have a lot of folks gotten lucky. Remember that old AAC silencer that was made for the Scar? That's a case where their luck ran out. And they had to drill holes in the blast chamber of the silencer to relieve the impulse accumulation from the gas phase. man, newsflash, guys. I don't know if you guys know this. I mean, they didn't. The impulse accumulates from both shock and long duration blast. So I feel like if they had known that, the silencer wouldn't have been so bad. I think it's like one of those like live, you learn scenarios, right? Or maybe you don't learn from it. I don't know. I've seen a lot of, I don't think some people have ever learned from case studies. Like it's a real life case study in real life military service and people didn't even learn. That's wild to me. That is so wild to me. Like you can have like irrefutable empirical evidence of a phenomena and totally not learn from it when it's like staring you in the face, like for a long time too. It's not like a month or so, right? Isn't that wild? One second. So back to the torch. What did Riley do with this thing? Well, he listened to the podcast. He learned a lot from his buddies. He learned a lot on his own independent study. And he managed his shock phase, and he figured out he could probably manage the gas phase too with enough venting around the stack. And you know what? He did this on a trial and error basis, I bet. I'm not going to try to speak for him, but I tell you what, trial and error basis, he didn't do this with CFD. That I can assure you of, okay? Just did it with rough theory, and I guarantee you that this company does not have blast analysis or design experience like I do. But I know they're hungry, and I know they're smart, and I know they have some grit, and sometimes that's all you need, clearly, you know, because you see, not all silencers are the same, and some silencers work better than other silencers. Some just do, and a lot of times, some silencers work better in certain ways because someone actually tries to make it do a certain thing, and not everyone that has success gets 100% lucky. So some people that have success, they chased it super hard and it shows in the design. Okay, that's a pretty general statement, but I just see some things people say sometimes publicly and I just shake my head a little bit like, no, I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot more to this sometimes than people give things credit for. I think some people get lucky, sure. I think some people don't. I think some people just get it. And I think sometimes it's a mix. And I think everyone's trying to get better together, and I think it's pretty cool. Okay, so I just want to give that short intro to this tech talk with some very technical language that I hope didn't go over your head too much. It's just that you need to understand there's a lot going on, and managing it in a certain way is doable. And just because something is super complicated does not mean that no one understands it. It just means they're going to use the tools at their disposal to solve the problems in front of them. And that's all you can do as an engineer, frankly. So take a look at the article. I have it pulled up right now. That's Sound Signature Review 6126 on the website. It was published on the 18th, which I think, a week ago. Okay, I have the member review up. You can have the free review up if you want, no problem. Bottom line up front, 35.9 composite suppression rating of the Liberty Precision Machine Torch on the Mark 18 with a solid end cap. Okay, now there's two configurations. One second. Okay, I'm back, sorry. There's two configurations, two tests. Okay, for the solid end cap, you get that 35.9 composite. How did that come about? Well, you had 35.6 at the muzzle, you got 22.4 at the ear. Not too shabby. Change the end cap to the vented one. Well, your composite drops down to 29.8. Okay, 26 at the muzzle, or 26.1 at the muzzle, 26.6 at the ear. Okay, now I just gave you two scenarios, two tests, same silencer. Where have you seen the solid numbers before, the solid end cap numbers? Well, RC2 kind of, right? Basically like an RC2. Well, where have you seen the vented numbers before on the Mark 18? Well, HXQD 556, kind of, right? So you got to ask yourself, did this dude just make a silencer that can act like an RC2 and an OSS with one little end cap change? And dude, he totally did. That's what the numbers show. So yeah, so the answer is yes. With regard to gross signature in the free field, yes. Okay. And that's really wild, all things considered, especially with how simple the design is, in my opinion. Because this is not as complicated, frankly, as either one of those silencers, when you really look at it. And that's what really impressed me about this whole thing. I really wish I could high-five you, dude. If I go to SHOT Show and you're there, we'll have a beer. So let's get into the data. You look at the fingerprint, scroll down here, scroll down past table 1, peak metrics, doesn't matter. Figure 1A. You look at this figure 1A, figure 1B. You look at this data. You look at this fingerprint right away, and what do you see? Well, you see gas trap behavior, guys, with a solid end cap. You see gas trap behavior. You've seen this before. You understand how to look at signatures if you follow Pew Science. We've been teaching you about combustion physics for over 3 years now, live on the website and this podcast. You guys have seen this, right? This is old hat to you. So you see a gas trap, and at first you're like, "Oh no, baby, what is you doing? What are you doing in early time?" Right? You're like, "Oh my God." But then you look at late time, and you're like, "Oh my God, why the bolt speed isn't that fast for the Mark 18? What? And that's a solid end cap? What? Oh, that's weird." So you're like, "Holy crap, dude, what's going on?" And then you realize, they literally dropped alpha. Or what's another word for that you just learned? Managed shock reflections, managed the impulse accumulation from the shock reflections. They managed that in such a way that really that additive impulse that's riding on top, that additive impulse in early time of the shock phase, riding on top of the gas phase, was minimal. Okay, so yeah, are you still going to get ejection port blast like an RC2 with the solid end cap of the torch? Well, absolutely. Absolutely you are. But are you going to cycle the gun a little slower than a high back pressure silencer would? Absolutely. Yeah. So this can trick you. There's a nuance here, and this might have even tricked them. This might have tricked Liberty Precision Machine. This can trick you into thinking you have a lower back pressure in a system in totality in the solid end cap. In the solid end cap configuration, when in fact you don't. And yes, you have lower early time shock reflections that can help the cycling, sure, but you still have a lot of impulse building in the barrel, homie, even if it's delayed. That's right. Now, this type of design is more advanced than simple stuff like a Dominus or a Polonium, but it's not as advanced as a Flow or an ODB. You feel me? 1 second, man. I am losing my voice. 1 second. I have been speaking all day. I had a course with folks from different companies all day, and I'm going to make it. So basically, with the solid end cap on this torch, you get weapon function kind of like a low back pressure silencer, kind of, without the benefit of slightly reduced ejection port blast, though. So the bolt's moving slower due to less shock reflection, but your total impulse is still going to get you in the time regime that matters. So enter the vented end cap. That's right. Scroll down in the review more. Scroll down. I'm skipping some stuff, but you're smart enough to understand. So go to 6.126.2. It's the second section in the review. Remember, there's 2 tests in here. So scroll down to the figure. It will be starting figure 5. Figure 5A, 5B. So this is the pressure fingerprint in the free field of the vented end cap. Okay, so with the solid end cap, yeah, you had some FRP with the solid end cap. You can see that. With the vented end cap, you were going to where are you going? If this was a road and you're driving your car, you take the solid end cap off, you put the vented cap back on there now, and you tighten it up and go shoot. And where you're going to gas momentum increase town, USA, population U. Yeah, big old momentum ramp up in figure 6. Am I right? Let's go down to impulse waveforms in figure 6 in the free field. Big old momentum ramp up in figure 6. Look at that, letting gas out faster. Physics makes sense. Right? Should be pretty easy to understand what's going on. This should be by inspection. You should understand this now. You have all the details in the article for you to understand. You are losing some consistency here, though. And why? It's probably due to those big vents. It's probably due to venting in the annulus, in the annular spaces of the baffles. Getting that flow rate high in this manner has consequences. No free lunch. You open the dam. so to speak. And it did open. But what's really cool about it? Just the way that the multi-chamber design works, it seems that the good part here for this vented configuration is that there's enough turbulence to do some work, even when it's vented. Sure, is it getting louder? Yeah, it's getting louder. But you know what, guys? With the vented torch on the Mark 18, it's still quieter at the muzzle. It's still quieter at the muzzle in the Mark 18 than a Helios QD, a Flow 556K, a Knights Armament QDC, a Thunder Beast Dominus, a Razor 556, a Sandman S, an Energetic Armament Arcs. It's quieter at the muzzle than all of those with its vented end cap. Oh, man, and that's not even the best part. Because at the shooter's ear on the Mark 18, homie, the suppression rating jumps to 26.6, and that is wild for a Mark 18. So I do believe, this is my guess, I do believe that if the muzzle suppression was better here and you were able to maintain that flow rate, the vented configuration could be a do-all configuration. But that is just not in the cards for this particular design, I think, and I think major changes would need to happen to it, and that's what I see. So one thing I do think we need to talk about right now is something that you are going to need to start thinking about as we move forward with high flow rate designs. And these low back pressure things and flow through things and surge bypass things and yada yada. All these technologies, including the vented end cap of the torch. I wrote something that I think I would like to read to you right now. Scroll down in the article, and you don't have to memorize it because it's in the article too. You can read it again. It's research note 13. In this article, I want you to read it and love it and know it and live it and put it under your pillow and hug it and kiss it. Just calm down. Don't get too excited, but you need to save this for a rainy day. I'm going to read it to you. Research note 13. There may be advantages to achieving the gross suppression rating balance seen in the vented torch system performance in the way it is achieved, compared to the way the HXQD 556 performance is achieved with so-called helix flow-through technology. Pew Science research is ongoing, and the following phenomena may significantly influence sound field: distal gas velocity gradients, gas velocity vector shapes, and wave shape dependent reflection factors. Okay, so the Pew Science Laboratory and all of our research, we focus on various phenomena, including those above points, and many of these phenomena are really outside the scope of what we do publicly. Now, as more technologies are presented, the phenomena is going to increase in relevance. Okay, the phenomena is going to increase in relevance to the standard itself. And an example I wrote in the research note, I wrote, for example, firing weapons in enclosed spaces presents hazards that can scale non-linearly and differently with different technologies. Okay, so that's the research note I want you to remember, or write it down or read it. Okay. So what I'm saying overall, and it's written there, so you can look up some of those terms. That's real physics if you want to read about those things. In short, what I'm saying is the way the gas comes out of the silencer is going to influence what happens near reflecting surfaces. And you know this, but it's not always intuitive. Okay? And that's really, guys, until we have data, you're going to have to think about this anecdotally, but many of you have already started to figure it out, and I really think that's cool. So what we'll do, let's look at the big bar chart. Scroll further down until you get to figure number 9, the big old bar chart of the Mark 18 stuff. I can't believe how big that chart is now. This Liberty Precision Machine torch is hanging, isn't it? It's hanging on the Mark 18. When I told you the RC2 and the HXQD 556 were similar performance analogs in a gross sense on this gun, I meant it. Look at the comparison of the solid end cap and the vented end cap on the chart. They're in red there. Now, given the research note that I just read to you, does that mean the vented torch sounds the same as the HXQD 556, even though the ratings are super similar? Remember, the HXQD 556 on the Mark 18, it was 27.5 flat, both the muzzle and ear. The torch, 26.6 at the ear, 26.1 at the muzzle. So for all intents and purposes, it's extremely similar to the HXQD 556 Mark 18 signature, right? In the free field, right? So given that, and given the research note, does it mean that the torch sounds the same as the HXQD 556? No, it does not mean it sounds the same. Now, does it have a similar hazard in the free field? Well, yes, it does, because the suppression ratings are similar. We already know that. Now, are all bets off in certain environments? Man, potentially, dude. And that's the thing. I'm going to use that word potentially, because I have a very hard time, and you'll see I don't do this. I do not draw conclusions without data and analysis. Now, I can postulate, and I can hypothesize, and we can all do that. We can guess, okay? We can make educated guesses based on the data. So I want to say we need to do more research, but I think there's a strong potential for stuff to completely change non-linearly across silencers when you get reflecting surfaces close by. Okay, I really do think that, and that's a really big deal. It's a really, really big deal, because it goes to what some people, don't understand sound field, and they don't understand the free field, and they always talk about, how come the Pew Science says and Jay says that the flow is quiet and it's not quiet. He's a liar because I shot it and the guy was like shooting it right next to a wall, and trying to get some kind of meaningful conclusion from that, or shooting it in a building and trying to get some kind of, I heard it. It was just so loud in that building. It's like, okay, well, maybe it was, but we have isolated variables by testing in the free field, like the mill standard told you to. So, okay. So again, see where this is all going? Do you have a crystal ball too? Anyway, so you get the point. I don't have to belabor that. We don't have time today, but you feel me. You understand where we're going with this, right? You understand why the torch might be different than a flow through, even though it reduces hazard like one in the free field. You understand why wave shape out of the front of the silencer could focus sound differently. You understand that. Okay, there's things in here to Google. You can Google everything in the review and start to learn about the physics yourself. I'm not making up these words. I do this for a living. This is real. Okay? Yeah. Guys, I mean, the stuff I've read online, you guys some of you, you're out to lunch. You need to really focus here. So all in all, this Mark 18 data set, it's getting super wild. I couldn't be happier that the torch is part of it right now. This has been 2 configurations, 2 tests, 1 silencer, a ton learned by us, a lot learned by you. I think a lot learned by Liberty Precision Machine. I think this is one for the books. I think this is a great addition to the pedigree. Just from selfishly, in my opinion, this is selfish by me. Selfishly, I think this is a great addition to the pedigree from a pure research perspective. I'm honored we could use it. I like that. But I also think it's great for them and great for you. So everyone wins on this one. Physically, let's talk about it. It's in my hand. I'm just holding it like a weirdo. It's not too heavy. It's not too long. If I have the RC2 on my desk along with some other stuff, I put it down next. It has no mount in it right now. So put it with no mount. It's a little bit shorter than an RC2. Okay. It's not too long. It's smooth. It's black. It's simple. Hub mount on the back. Serial ID ring if you're into that. You know what? It's got the 2 end caps that come with it. It's a no-nonsense silencer, probably a workhorse for your 5.56 guns. I tell you what, that big old blast baffle orifice, I bet you, I don't have data to support this, but I bet you it helps with erosion on short barrel 5.56. I bet you it helps. Ask the manufacturer. They'll probably give you some info. I'm sure they've done something. So, again, good job, Riley. I think you did a good job. Keep doing this. Don't stop, okay? You're having successes fueled by passion and understanding, and it's only up from here. Okay, so we all have the benefit of learning with all this too. So please thank your folks for me, and thank you for trusting us to perform this work. Okay, we're going to move into topic 2 at a time of 45 minutes and 12 seconds. Okay, so I spent basically exactly half an hour on that. That's perfect. Okay, 1 second. Okay, my voice is rapidly deteriorating. Yeah, give a course for 12 hours and then do a podcast and finish articles. This is definitely smart. Topic 2 here. Let me make some notes for myself. Public Research Supplement 6/127. We're shifting gears. In fact, let me go to that right on the website in front of me. It's a public article. The standard M4A1 test host, 14.5-inch mid-length gas, 5.56. Okay, the testing has begun publicly now. We've been doing testing for a long time, but now you get to see it. So as is tradition, this article standardizes everything. Just like we did with the Mark 18 with Article 651. Did the same thing with the Mark 18. You guys, if you're new to Pew Science, we standardize everything. It's the silencer sound standard. That's right. It's like the only effort in the history that's done this. So here we are, doing it again. And you know what, guys? This is just an abbreviated discussion of this. We went deep dive with the torch on this topic, and the next 3 topics of this podcast, we're going to go abbreviated to get this done, and then we'll hit them like they deserve in subsequent episodes. Sound good? Perfect. Now, I do want to thank all of you listening out there. You guys have been waiting over a year. You picked the 14.5. Then you picked the gas system for the gun. Then Pew Science picked the upper to use. Even we actually solicited feedback for that too, but we did end up picking it. Then Pew Science did testing. Then I wrote an article, and here we are. You all wanted it, and now you have it. Hope it lived up to your expectations. The 14.5-inch mid-length gas M4A1 Daniel Defense upper assembly, purchased directly from Daniel Defense. I bought 2 of them, one with a pinned and welded flash hider I had removed, and that is the test upper. Then I bought another one from their custom shop for myself that was not pinned and welded. That's the only difference between the 2 uppers. And it's literally just a 14.5-inch gun I've been shooting in my extremely limited spare time in order to really get a feel for the system. I have become intimately familiar with the 14.5-inch mid on an exact copy of the test host upper. I shoot mine with an H3 buffer. The tests are all done with an H2 to mimic the real world, and the fact that there is no way most people use a buffer heavier than H2. Okay, remember folks, this is every Tom, Dick, and Harry and armorers, not you. It's not your Reddit friends. Okay, so relax. No, shout out to Reddit. Some great people on there. What's up, guys? But believe me, you guys are way more in tune with guns than like the general populace. And believe me, they're not putting H3s in their freaking ARs, dude. That's like super rare. So just like the Mark 18, I gave the reasoning, the details, the blast loads, and everything you need to understand the host weapon. Okay? It's all in Article 6/127, so please reference it. Love it. Learn it. So I'm going to hit a few things really quick to make sure folks understand what's going on, why we did it. So look, if I repeat myself, just know, dude, it's important. 1 second. Okay. So what I want you to do, let me scroll down. I'm just going to go really quick through this. Just the stuff you need to be familiar with right now, okay? Scroll down. There's a lot in it. Go to section 6.127.4. That's where it tells you like the thrust of this. We picked 14.5 because you can pin and weld it to 16, and that makes it super common. So if you use the data you get on this 14.5-inch host, it's probably conservative for a 16-inch gun. Okay, we can all agree that's probably the case most of the time. Cool. Now, I know, believe me, I know that the next topic is going to show that the Surefire silencer has a hard time when the barrel length gets longer. Okay, I know. Believe me, if anyone knows, I do. I know. Forget about that for a second. Just know that most silencers are louder on 14.5 than they are on 16. And remember, 16 is an arbitrary, stupid infringement length. It doesn't matter, okay? So now more people can use data because we have a 14.5 and a lot of people pin and weld it. The end. Now, secondly, yes, we picked mid-length gas. No, we did not pick carbine length gas. Yes, I know that most M4s that are fielded have carbine length gas. I know, you know, we all know, but that's old and it's going away and the future is mid-length. Okay, so we all concede that this is unconservative for the carbine length gas guns at the shooter's ear. Yes, it's going to be unconservative for that. So if you have a carbine length gas system on your 14.5, the shooter's ear numbers could be worse than you see from this test with 14.5, okay? So tune your gun. That's not a command, it's a suggestion. You feel me? You understand? Okay. I'm not your dad. I'm just telling you the compromises we had to make this future-proof. Feel me? Okay, good. Now, details. What is it? Well, it's a Daniel Defense upper, just like the Mark 18. Why Daniel? Why Daniel Defense? Do we have a relationship with them? Absolutely not. They don't pay us anything. They don't sponsor us. Frankly, they don't see us as big enough to do that, I don't think. I think they're more like a mega influencer type marketing thing with the people who make the YouTube stuff. And that's not us. Doesn't matter. We don't do it for that. We do it for the love of the game and for the consumer and for the effort and for the state of practice. So why do we pick Daniel Defense if they don't pick us? We picked them because this upper, just like the Mark 18, has the quality and consistency and the commonality to be successful. We trust their AR uppers for test hosts. We just do. It's a solid choice. We have a lot of familiarity with the systems. 14.5-inch barrel, 0.76 gas port size with a fixed gas block, all Daniel Defense parts. What about the lower? Same exact lower we use in Mark 18 testing. Literally the same. Anderson post sample, baby. Pew Science. H2 buffer. That's right. Okay. Same thing. So, I think I did that justice. So what's the first silencer you see with this host that you all wanted so emphatically and rightfully so? What's the first silencer you see? Well, it's a Surefire SOCOM 556 RC2, as is tradition with Pew Science. Next topic 3, at a time of 53 minutes and 11 seconds. We are doing this. Topic 3. I'm going to that article now. We're trucking on the website, baby. Sound Signature Review 6128. The Surefire SOCOM 556 RC2 on the 556 M4A1 mid-gas with a 3-prong with the war comp. That's right. We did it again. We did it with the new host. Introductory discussion. Okay, we're going to cover this white paper briefly. This was published on Sunday in tandem with the public research supplement displaying the new host information. We have now officially and publicly kicked off the 14.5-inch research progression. I know you guys have been waiting for this. I'm excited to bring it to you. I'm glad it's happening now. Perfect timing. So you look at this article. You say, did I go ham? Yes. Are there 2 tests in it? Yes. Do we have time to go through it all? Absolutely not. Not today. Don't have time tonight. But I will say this. And I did something a little different. There's a little feature in my web in the web host I use to build the website, they had a little quote feature thing. It's new. I didn't have that before, to do it like that with a little thing. I was like, I'll highlight something I think is important. Maybe it'll, because some people say that when the articles are too long and they need a summary, and I'm like, I get it, dude. I don't disagree. They're technical white papers. There's a summary all the way at the very end that you can read easily if you want to scroll all the way down. But you know what? I figured, I'm going to put something up close at the top of the article. That way, maybe someone will read it and they'll be done, and they don't have to go on, and it'll help. And then some people sent me some feedback saying that they thought the quote was inappropriate. I don't understand the criticism. If you have a problem with that, can you just email me so I can understand what you're saying? Because that doesn't. Okay, I guess everyone's a critic, but I just don't understand what the problem with it was. I'm going to read it to you right now, in case you don't like it for some reason, but it's important. So, if you don't like the articles, don't read them. But I think you should, because it allows you to know way more about silencers than you did before you read them. So I don't know if people are going to like this that have an RC2. I don't know if Surefire likes it, because I haven't talked to Surefire about this at all. And so I don't know who likes this. I don't know who hates it, but they're my words. They're genuine. And here it is. The Surefire SOCOM 556 RC2 was the first silencer evaluated by Pew Science on the standard Mark 18 weapon system, and subsequently included in the Public Silencer Sound Standard Research Pedigree in Sound Signature Review 652. Since that publication, the pedigree has grown to include a significant amount of data and analysis, and as a result, the understanding of the suppressed Mark 18 weapon system by this laboratory, the industry, and the public has significantly increased. The SOCOM 556 RC2 was designed by Surefire to complement the Mark 18 to perform efficiently in the combustion environment produced by the extremely short 10.3-inch barrel 556x45 gun barrel. Okay, so we encourage the reader to keep this in mind when reviewing the data and analysis in the white paper. The performance of the silencer on the standard M4A1 weapon system is extremely similar to that of its performance in the Mark 18. Okay, it is. In our subjective opinion, this is both a positive and a negative. For a specialized silencer to maintain performance across systems years after its initial intended development has ceased is notable. However, a design so dependent upon pressure input for efficacy may limit the utility of the silencer for the end users that are pursuing absolute performance on multiple platforms. Okay, so furthermore, looking at that, if the specialized nature of a silencer is not showcased, if you don't analyze it, understand it, and disseminate this to the public, the state of practice stalls. Okay, so in keeping with the Pew Science mission, the prolific SOCOM 556 RC2 that we all know and love is again showcased here in a manner that you have never seen before, and it's this time on the 14.5-inch barrel M4 mid-length gas platform. Okay, so as that weapon system is fielded more, guys, we here at Pew Science are pleased at the prospect of the conclusions from this article, this research that all of you funded. This is an internally funded research program. We are pleased at the prospect of all of this research proliferating. And what it's going to do is it's going to assist end users for years to come, just as our WarComp research did. Okay? And I wrote all that. I wrote this big old dumb quote to capture a couple of things. One, the history. That's important. Because I don't care if you like this effort or not, no one before us quantified the different mounts in this dang silencer, nor its performance in a meaningful fashion. Okay. Two, I wanted to give respect to Surefire of what they've done for the industry. Love them or hate them. They had nothing to do with this. Surefire doesn't contribute to Pew Science at all. Okay? This is just member-funded stuff. Okay? So that's plain English. That's in black and white that's in black and white. Easy to understand language, and it's going to stay there because I mean it, and I think it's important. Okay? I think this article is a big deal. Some people said this was pivotal for Pew Science. What is the word they use? They said something like this is big step or something. Yeah, I agree. It is. It's a very important article, and I'm not just saying that because I wrote it. Okay. 1 second. It's important because no one's ever showed you it before. That's what my opinion is, that things are important when they show things that back up what people know and it's definitive. That's important. That's why we do the dang research. So this had to be done, and I hope it helps all of you. I really do. That's like the whole thing, dude. This is literally member-funded research because this whole entire effort was started by me so that we could do this for everybody. And this is one of those things. And who out there is going to be able to say, well, Jay's a surefire shill, and no, dude. No. This is pure research progression for the people. From the moment I shot that damn 7.62 RC2 on the 308 bolt gun with the war comp and I thought the gun blew up, until this article, the 128th article we published for you, from that span of time, that has been a personal research interest that became a national and worldwide research interest. And we have the analytics to prove it. Guys, people all over the world use this data. Okay? In operational environments everywhere. Okay? So, it had to be done. I hope it helps you. There are major conclusions that we're not going to go in depth, but I'm going to give them to you right now. So if you're not going to read the article right now, that's okay, dude. I'm going to give you 3 major things to know. First thing, the RC2 does not get quieter on the M4. That's right. It is counterintuitive. Should silencers get quieter on longer barrels? Yes. Does the RC2 get quieter than the Mark 18 on the M4? No. Is this real? Yes. Is there a reason? Yes. Okay. So just like some other technologies we've seen, guys, there's a minimum pressure threshold here. And you've got to reach that threshold at a certain point in the time domain on the combustion curve. And if you don't, I don't know, guys. You don't reach it on the 14.5 with the silencer. You do not utilize the silencer the same way. It just doesn't get quieter. The end. Do you remember we talked about the CGS technology, and when I told you guys about that, some of you guys actually got mad at CGS for physics. And then what? I tell you a similar thing's happening with the Surefire silencer. You're mad at Surefire now too? See why emotion has no place in this? Use your emotion because you like silencers because they're cool and they look cool and they're fun to shoot and you love for the knowledge. Don't use them as cheerleaders. This emotional cheerleading it's doing nothing but poisoning your mind and hurting people. You know what? If you're in the silencer industry and you're doing it and you're bad mouthing people, stop, because you're making the sandbox dirty for everyone and the consumers see it and it's messed up. Okay, get along with everybody, be nice, and freaking work toward a common goal instead of sitting there and you talk mess about all these people. They're all trying to make a product. And you know what? All we're trying to do is run a lab. And you know what our product is? Education. We're just trying to do that. Okay? So the first thing is that you need to know the RC2 doesn't get quieter on the M4. It's too bad, so sad. Do you think it should? Yeah, a lot of people did. They're wrong. And when they shoot it, they're like, oh, that's why we thought the Surefire silencer was loud. I know. Crazy. Point B, the war comp's still loud. Yeah, that's right. Still loud. But it's not as bad as it is on the Mark 18. Why could that be? Well, lower pressure input, less severe leak, and the leak's further away from your head. That's good, okay? Remember that? Point 3, you need to remember, the shooter's ear suppression rating with the M4, with the RC2, it jumps up compared to that on the Mark 18. It's a little less hazard. Why? Oh, but Jay, you said it didn't get any quieter. I know I said that, but there's a distance to the shooter's ear that's, 40% further away. Well, no, that's not true. It's not. It is 4 inches further away. So you have the distance. That's big. You got the flow rate on RC2 being not that bad. Okay, the flow rate's not terrible in an RC2. Okay, so you get some benefit the shooter's ear. I told you guys the RC2 is pretty balanced. It was really ahead of its time. Now I'm telling you, some silencers cannot hang with the RC2 at the ear on this gun. I'm telling you that, so stay tuned for that. Okay, look, by no means am I calling the RC2 a super low back pressure silencer, but it is more balanced than some silencers, and believe me, you will see that, guys. Believe me. I am telling you, dude. Stay tuned. Okay, so that's all for now. We'll do a deep dive later, I think. Composite suppression rating is the exact same on the Mark 18. Is that a coincidence? Absolutely. We checked it. We double checked it. These numbers, they're right. Yes, I know it's crazy. Sometimes math is like that. I'm sorry. Don't get upset. There's a lot of emotional attachment to the RC2, and I like it just like you do. So this is not me hating on the RC2. I don't hate on things. That's a weird word. No, I'm just talking about the data and analysis. Physics will get you. There's no free lunch. The RC2 has a vulnerability, and now you know what it is, just like we do. It needs higher pressure. That's right. And pay attention to Research Note 9. In fact, let me tell you about that, and it's really short. Don't worry, you won't get bored when I read it. Where is it? Come on, guys. Where did I put it? Oh, it's like the very end. Yeah, this is important. So, maybe I should read this in plain English to you. Basically, what I say in Research Note 9 is that our best guess is that folks think that Surefire rifle silencers are loud because of two reasons. One, because a lot of people use war comps. Two, because people were putting them on barrels that were longer and it couldn't hang with other silencers like that. And then, you put it on a Mark 18, you might not think about the sound as much. Maybe, I don't know. That's my guess. And I think it's right. From everyone I've talked to that's used the RC2 on like multiple barrel lengths, they confirm this data, guys. This is not a mystery. This is just real. And this is the first time anyone in the world has ever seen it quantified. Okay? So and that's the important part here. Real signature analysis with real physics in a controlled, standardized test method and presentation research pedigree. Yeah. That's why it's so important, okay? So read that, love it. Again, Research Note 9, important, okay? Okay. All right, we're going to keep on trucking. We're going to move into topic 4. A time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 30 seconds. Okay, we're getting closer. 1 second. Okay, topic 4. And this is where it gets really weird. Sound Signature Review 6-129. The CAT WB-A1 718 on the 5.56 Mark 18. I don't know how I was able to get this done, but it's live right now. This is the introductory discussion. I know this is very hotly anticipated, at least folks talking to us about it. It's a small silencer. It's interesting performance. I can't really pull up the article yet because I can. It's just not published, so I have to do something. I'm sorry, guys. Just give me a second. If you could just be so kind. I have it in a different thingy, and I gotta open my thingy. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Sound Signature Review 6-129, Combat Application Technologies, the WB, the Inconel WB. Okay. So a lot of folks were screaming for this. Client was screaming for this. Yeah, it's funny. Little did the public know, and I don't know, it's funny how people, they try to guess like what's going to happen and like why we publish things. It's like so weird. This was in the works for a very long time. Excuse me. It's just that, guys, we have backlogs, and frankly, what we're trying to do right now, if you haven't noticed with all these data drops, we're trying to clear a lot of backlog out, and because there's so much stuff to do, we can't. We just got to get this out. So this was actually a very good time to release it because this Mark 18 article, because we could also release 14.5-inch data for this WB at the same time, which is the next topic. And then we can just put a bow on this WB thing for a minute. And keep on trucking with everything we have because we have a lot of stuff to go through. So this is like a very efficient method. It took a lot of planning to get all of the sequence correct here. And this, again, this cat work is something that has been happening at our lab for all year. It's just that we don't talk about our ongoing research with you, and because cat's not the only client that we have a lot of them, and we just don't talk about it, and that's why you don't know. So the conspiracy theories that I know are going to happen are just really silly. Okay, guys, because like if you just wait till you see what's coming after these, you're going to be like, all your conspiracy theories are going to go out the window again. So just relax, okay? I know even CAT has been, their R&D organization, they've been waiting for us to publish this for a long time. And so we're happy that we can get this done, guys. It's just been a lot. So there is a lot to cover, though. And you are in luck. So really, first of all, there's no time for a technical discussion today, so you're in luck with that respect. But, this is the intro, as is tradition anyway. Every time we release data on the Deva podcast, we don't go deep dive, right? The second reason you're in luck is that really it shouldn't even matter for you, really. Because if you read the ODB Mark 18 article, the WB Mark 18 article is pretty similar. You'll notice some striking similarities. And why is that? Well, it is because the WB is basically a mini ODB. And I know that sounds weird. This is basically like a K version of the ODB, but it's dedicated 556, whereas the ODB is a 762. And I know that sounds weird, but it's the best way for me to explain it to you right now. Let me give you a technical tidbit here. I know we can't do a deep dive, but you're going to want to know. So, the surge bypass technology in the WB, it's actually modified to be even more simple than it is in the ODB. So, the WB is smaller, it's more simple than the ODB, and it still hits suppression levels on the Mark 18 that are pretty wild, all things considered. I mean, this is basically a K silencer. Okay. Check it out. Go read it. The muzzle, it has muzzle and shooter's ear numbers on the Mark 18 that when you combine them together are pretty wild. And really, guys, the only thing we've seen that touches this on the Mark 18 for combined hazard reduction, I think is the ODB and the Flow 762. And from what we're learning about the different high flow technologies, guys, like I said in when did I say it? In the torch topic today? I mean, the flow stuff could potentially have a near field reflection factor issue, just like we've been talking about. So you look at this, remember what happened when I published the ODB data and we were like, look what it's doing and how it's doing it. It's not necessarily what the ODB was doing in pure signature suppression, it was how it was doing it that was the huge deal. And this is another one of those things. And this one too, it's because it's so small, is like wild. So there's a lot to think about here. And, I think I'll get this question. You asked this question, did the silencer live up to the hype? Because, people, marketing teams hype things all the time. Does the silencer live up to the hype? I don't know. What I do and what we do here at Pew Science, we do look and listen and see what folks are saying online and in different circles. And so we've been watching it, right? We don't hype anything. Like we don't have a mechanism to hype anything. We can't. But we watch other people hype things. And I am not sure what people thought this thing would do, but from what we're seeing, in our testing, in our lab, just like the ODB, this WB is doing things that I don't think any other silencer can do in the way it's doing it. So, I mean, this is high flow rate with significant suppression, guys. That's what it's doing. I mean, you just saw the Torch review. Look at this. Look what the WB does on the Mark 18. You saw the Torch. What was the Torch? The Torch was a combination of the RC2, and then it became like an OSS, or like an OSS when you when you changed the end cap, and then the whole muzzle suppression rating dropped. Okay. Well, what does this do? What does the WB do on the Mark 18? Well, it's smaller, and it's acting like the ODB and the Flow. Maybe not the same exact rating, but close, right? So I don't know, guys. That's crazy. That shows technology scaling on barrel length and size. That's nuts, dude. I know. I'm not trying to hype anything. I'm telling you what you're seeing, and that's crazy. So let's move into the last topic now. Topic 5, a time of 1 hour, 15 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay, topic 5. So in tandem with that Mark 18 WB review 129, we have Sound Signature Review 6.130, the 130th article. This is the Cat WB on the M4 14.5-inch mid-length gas upper. Guys, I told you. Yeah, see, I told you we're starting 14.5 testing. And again, we've actually done quite a bit. And the client testing has started. Here's one of them. And so this really, just like I kind of just got done saying got finished saying in the previous topic, this should give you a great picture of how the surge bypass technology scales, okay? And again, this is just another intro discussion because we don't have time to go deep dive right now because this is, again, just the same day it's being released. This is just, consider this time on the podcast to be an intermediate finish line, okay, before next week. And by the way, more data is coming next week, so relax. There's even more. So that we're blowing and going. So this 14.5-inch whitebread data is here, and this is really, really, really where things get interesting. When you thought it was, the Mark 18 data is interesting. First of all, the fact that they could make this silencer this small and do what the ODB is doing on a Mark 18, basically, the fact that happened, and now you're doing this now on the 14.5, the suppression rating jumps up. I don't even have the article open. I'm just going off memory. 1 second. I forgot what the numbers are. I don't have the numbers in my head. Hold on. 14. Oh yeah. Jesus. So yeah. You see this on the 14.5, the suppression rating at the muzzle and ear both jump. Okay, and not by just a little bit. Yeah, dude. This is showing some interesting things. And really guys, and I know this, and I know you know this, this would not be as wild if you didn't already have RC2 data. And if we had not already tested a bunch of other stuff on the 14.5. And we know more than you. Okay? We know more than you because of that. Because we just have more data right now. And I'm sorry, that's just how it is. Something had to be the first client test, right? And guess what was the first test on 14.5 that we published? Surefire. And they're not even a client. We just had to do it because per tradition, we thought it was appropriate, especially the fact that the RC2 was groundbreaking to us. And yes, the Mini 2 from Surefire is coming too, but that's the RC2 anyway. So that's what I'm saying. And so for some of you new to Pew Science, you might not understand some of this research progression. Remember, if you remember back in the day, in the early days of the podcast even, remember when we started the 308 bolt action testing in the early days of Pew Science? And it was, dude, that was all, none of that was client funded. That was before we really had a lot of clients, and we were just still doing all with member funding, scraping by. It was grinding, much like today, but just on a smaller scale. When we started 308 bolt action testing, guys, no one knew it was coming. It was crazy. Like, we were just, And we had so much data already, but we didn't give you guys all of the info all at once because we had to go through everything. It's too much. There's not enough hours in the day to do all that at once in a high quality way, guys. You cannot just dump a bunch of data on somebody without analysis and without meaningful conclusions, because what does that do? It confuses people, and it has very little value, and frankly, it's a waste of time. So the way we do it at Pew Science is to carefully and methodically release not only data, but engineering analysis so that people can interpret it and use it. Okay? It's like you wouldn't buy like a 2-month-old baby a guitar and be like, here you go, you dumbass baby, you know? And the baby's like, I'm sorry, like I'm 2 months old, like I'm really just I can't even locate the frets correctly on the guitar. I just don't have the dexterity yet. And you're like, no, tough baby, dumbass baby. What, you can't play the guitar? What, I gave you it. What, you can't play the guitar? You're a baby. What's wrong with you? What, you have fingers? You have fingers. See how stupid that is? Yeah, that's what I think about when people don't give you enough information. So I don't know. I'm getting tired. I'm sorry if that analogy kind of went weird. What I'm trying to say is stay tuned, guys. Right now, what you need to know at a high level is that the CAT surge bypass technology appears to scale with barrel length and with dwell time. And you can make the silencer smaller and you can still get high performance. Okay? And that is really not normal. It's really not normal because you do not see that in some other technologies. Okay, some example. We do not see that with the Flow series from Huxworks at all. You guys, we've been through this, guys. You can't shrink a Huxworks Flow silencer and get anywhere near the performance holistically as the bigger one because you don't have the gas path. You don't have the time for heat transfer. Their system, that's the way that works. You can't do it. Because remember, guys, you're forgetting. And if you find that to be too speculative, use logic. If they could have, they would have done it already. And the Flow 762 would have been way smaller. They would have already done it. You don't release something that can be way smaller when it doesn't need to be. It doesn't make sense. You already saw their way smaller one. What was that? It was the Flow 556K. You understand? This is physics, dude. It would be dumb to do that. Nothing we see indicates that there's any tricks here. That's just physics. Okay, so if it doesn't seem to happen with the Huxworks stuff, and so we think we know why, and I think everyone's pretty much on board with that. That's not a mystery at all. It's not crazy. It's not controversial to say. But you know what? Also, you don't see the scaling happen with apparently the RC2, and that was really interesting, and that makes me wonder. I think it makes a lot of us wonder. What are we going to see from the RC3? And I really have no idea now because when I told you guys things were going to start to get crazy, dude, this was some of the stuff I was talking about. It's not even all the stuff. There's more stuff coming that you can't even possibly predict that is so different than this that you're going to be like, what? But also somewhat related, which is even crazier. But what I'm saying here with regard to the RC3, guys, look, we're in a place right now that I didn't think we would see this place with silencer technology for quite some time. We have something here in this review in 6130 and 6129 that literally seems to be pressure agnostic. Like it seems to work with subsonic 300, supersonic 556, multiple barrel lengths. That the technology, that surge bypass stuff, dude, it is not normal. It is not normal to do all that stuff at once, ever. I just, look, some of you might know something I don't know. And it's a big world, dude. Some of you guys might have super secret squirrel stuff that I've never seen. And you know what? Cool. Maybe I can shoot it with you sometime. But from what I've seen and from what Pew Science has evaluated, we've never seen silencers like this, ever. I know that's going to upset some of you. I don't know why it's going to upset some of you, but I'm sure it will. And it's something I have to say. This is new, dude. To do all this with a high flow rate, it doesn't fit into the pedigree in cookie cutter places. So I think seeing new stuff is cool. I'm excited, just like scientifically, I'm excited. I'm excited to show you this data that I'm not quite yet finished with these papers, but I will be soon. You'll see them in the morning when I publish them. When you listen to this podcast, it should be published. They should be published. Man, boy, howdy. I just want to go shooting and enjoy all of this. I don't have time, which really sucks, dude. Like, I got to figure that out. Like, I'm running out of gas here trying to get this done for you guys, but I think it's going to be worth it because it's just a lot of good research. So please go check out the articles if you could be so kind. I'm sure we'll get a lot of questions about this. So since Sunday, because we published 2 on Sunday. So, okay, let's see. So there have been 4 new articles in less than a week, right? You have 5 articles in a week, counting the Torch, right? We just went over 5 articles in this podcast, albeit briefly, but the Torch we gave full attention to with the full technical discussion in the first topic. That's 5 articles in a week span. Okay, so do me a favor. If you are not a Pew Science member, if you want to help, join. You just join for a month if you want. It's whatever. Just for the price of a cup of coffee. It's cool. Help the effort. You know what? Or don't. And that's cool too. I'm never going to force you. That's weird. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. I still love you if you don't. Listen to the podcast is fine too. But just know that like we're working hard for you. And so if you want to support us, and you want us to be able to keep giving you the highest quality silencer data and analysis that you've ever seen, that I've ever seen, help us help you. And I think we'll do it all together. It's been a team effort so far. Super grassroots, super cool. I've loved it. I'm going to continue to love it. Okay. So thank you. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I am going to write these articles and go to bed. And then I just got to put some finishing touches on here just to make sure that I don't like say something unclear that confuses you. And then please check them out. And if you're a time traveler and they're not up yet, just go back to bed, wake up, read them, share them, discuss them, ask questions, and stay tuned next week for more data. That's right. Something completely unrelated is coming. And then, of course, we'll go into some deep dives too on the podcast. It'll be cool. It's the holidays, guys. Get excited. You got so much data. It's like an early Christmas, okay? I'll talk with you folks again soon. All right, bye.